Forensics with Pastor Dan. We're going to cover a really quick concept here, and the next two sets are going to be rather quick. The first one is called document examination, and we're looking at ways to try to recover damaged documents. Now, if we're going to devise what kind of process we're going to do to analyze ink, there's three main processes we're going to look at. The first is called TLC. Now, that does not stand for tender loving care. No, it means thin layer chromatography. And I showed you the last lab with the ink. That's chromatography paper. You put it into an alcohol, it raises up and causes separation. Based on how high it is and how wide it is and colors you see, you can identify the different kind of inks that are available. Two other processes we can look at are called a GC, a gas chromatograph, or a mass spectral analyzer. What those do is they look at the individual and identify the individual substances inside the ink to be able to identify what they are and go back to specific manufacturers. Now, when it comes to destroyed documents, there are ways that you can recover them. Okay, the first type of damaged document that we can look at is called an erasure. What's an erasure? It's basically erasing. And you can usually see them with the naked eye, but there are some times we have some difficulty. So using UV light can help us see what was there originally. Also using a magnifying glass, we can see the indentures present. Contents can't always be recovered, so we're going to do the best we can with what we have, but those are three different methods, either with a physical eye, microscope, or with a UV light in order to try to identify what was there before it was erased. Second type of damage is an obliteration. Now, you can either obliterate it by covering it over, which, again, UV light would work, but the other thing they often use is strong chemical. If you remember the movie Catch Me If You Can, Abernath, he faked being a doctor, an airplane pilot, and for Pan Am, one of the things he did to get paid is he would place the checks inside of a chemical that lifted the ink off, and then buying the exact same type of typeset, printed his own name, his own information on there, and got it to go in that way. They would make the ink colorless. It's still there. So under UV light or IR light, infrared, we can see that with a microscope. So that would be an example of obliteration. Now, the ink itself, we can do something called overwrite. I once had a student who I had to assign a grade, and I had to put down an F. This was for a trip that the student went on, and she went, and so I checked in the office why she was allowed to go. And when they pulled up the paper, I had made the F into an A. Different inks are made out of different chemical composition. If the same ink, exact same pen is used, recovery of what was originally there may be impossible. But if there's a different one, we can use the UV light, we can use a microscope to see the different differences in the ink. All right, now, impressions. I really like this one. This is where you take and you get a piece of paper that looks blank, but you get a sense of an impression. Now, obtaining evidence on prior written paper. So in other words, they wrote a note, they took the paper with them, and there's an impression underneath. By lightly shading, taking a pencil and lightly shading back and forth, you can recover what was seen there. I don't know if you can see that very well, but that says science is fun. So that's how we can do that to try to cover information that's there. Now, the last one is the most difficult. These are damaged, ripped, or shredded instruments. It's active destroying document, typically to keep others from retrieving it. First, put the document back together. Now, we're going to do a lab. And if you have access to a shredder, that would make it really easy. Take some paper that you want to put back together, put it in the shredder, see if you can do that. If you don't have a shredder, just take a piece of scissors and cut them all up. Now, ripped, again, is just a jigsaw puzzle. Fire is difficult because of the fact that that information is actually gone. So what you'll do is you'll put the damaged fire together and then basically think about what you think must be missing. You can't say 100%, but you can say, in my best expert professional opinion, this is what was there. So those are things that we can do. Those are damaged documents. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. Take care. God bless.